Good evening, welcome to Keep Evolving. This is season 2 and this is episode 7. And today we are going to have a very exciting debate. When you go for a safari, you take some suitcases and some bags with you. That is called your luggage or your baggage. So today we're going to talk about baggage with a bias towards emotional baggage. On the panel today, tuko na wageni wengi sana, wengine tumewamiss, wengine ni first time yao, and we're going to have a fun discussion. So everybody out of the bedroom into the sitting room. This are table conversation. This is Keep Evolving, and we start right away. On my right, joining us again, Collins India. I hope mnamuona vizuri. Ndevu inaweza kuwa imemeamea. But yes. On my left, my immediate left, for the first time here, our very own Phoebe Njenga. Yes, we also call her Reverend Phoebe Njenga. Yes. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes, and the person we have missed greatly on my extreme left, Jackie Wegoki, back at it again.
Thank you.
Yes. Asanteni kwa kuwa hapa. Let's begin at the beginning. Unajua watu wanaulizanga, where do we begin? And somebody told me once upon a time, when you begin at the beginning or where you left off. So let us begin this one at the beginning. What is baggage? We can start with Jackie, and then Reverend will talk about what is baggage, generally. Jackie.
More often than not, when I hear baggage,
Yes.
I think about, what you say, the suitcases that you carry along with you,
Yes.
physical things that you can see. But now today that we're discussing emotional baggage, I think it's about the things that have continued to disturb us in our lives internally, more internal than external.
Yes.
And the things that possibly would be making us not perform to our maxima, again, because they are affecting our lives. So we are not living holistically because of that.
That is our context of baggage.
Yes.
Here. Rev, what is baggage?
For me, baggage could be the experiences that are past. And when I think of them, they create fear in me. I feel like I cannot perform. The fear of unknown, the fear of how will I be understood, the fear of, now, are these people really getting me? Am I communicating? It becomes a big baggage for me, and those experiences those back experiences, if they come at my face, I feel like I am not able to perform, or people are thinking something about me. So I want to get rid of that fear and move forward.
Yes.
I don't want to carry that baggage of fear with me.
Wow. 2 dimensions here before Collins puts in his voice. Emotional experiences, and this one is also the fear of the unknown. That is informed by past experiences. Wonderful. Collins, baggage.
I can say that if now that we're talking about emotional baggage, it's past resentments that we are still carrying on to this day. I don't know if you've ever had your past bleeding on to your future. Your emotional, your wounds, which are not yet healed, they bleed on to your future.
Breeding this, as they breed this fear that Tugaji is talking about. They become your point of information as you head forward. Let us now focus a little bit more on emotional baggage, because it is emotional baggage that is dealing us a blow. Mental health, emotional intelligence, which a lot of times we are unable to function, like we are saying. Imposter syndrome, let me put it in here. So emotional baggage, let's speak to emotional baggage and describe it a bit, and then point out if you can pick an example or an analogy from a place, and then say this is how we get emotional baggage. Rev, let me start closer home and ask you, what do you think about emotional baggage? What can you tell us about it?
Now what can I say about emotional baggage? Let me think more about it.
All right. Big point coming, Jackie.
When I think about emotional baggage, I think about what clutters my life internally, or what clutters our lives internally.
Yes.
And some of the things that will clutter us internally is living in anger. Maybe somebody wronged you and you went through such a heartbreaking experience and you are unable to get rid of that anger. So you live with it to an extent that you even get stuck. When I think about baggage, I think about heartaches, and that's the brokenness. I have been so hurt. Maybe it's a rejection that I experienced.
Yes.
To an extent that I am unable to perform, like we said earlier. Yeah. I am unable to forgive, so I live again with unforgiveness. Yes. So the minute I start counting down the line and accumulating unforgiveness, anger, hurt, all these show really a level of internal brokenness.
Yes.
And if I cannot work towards my wholeness, then of course it means my destiny here it's halted.
Yes.
Because unforgiveness will make me not to pursue my dreams.
Sure.
Brokenness will make me not to be able to give my best. So you find you have the potential, but you're unable to go and to pursue this journey of life towards your greatness.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I would.
Words like brokenness have been thrown in here, unforgiveness. Rev, now I know you are ready.
Yes.
Yes.
Unforgiveness. Yes, that emotion that comes out, as Jackie says, has an answer in the Bible.
Yes.
And I love this memory verse that says, if you want people to like you, forgive them when they wrong you. Remembering wrongs can break a relationship. Yes. So we end up breaking our relationships because of those emotions, that unforgiveness comes. And when you forgive, actually it is you who gets peace. And forgiveness becomes a way of getting rid of your emotion. Yes. So I think we all like to be loved.
Yes.
And this love can be answered by what I've said. Yes. That let people like you because you forgive them. Sure. And that is the beginning of life. It is Christian culture. It is Christian, and it is Christian to forgive. Yes. And you can be proved that because you forgive, then you are a Christian. And that is all what we live for.
That is exactly what we live for.
However difficult it may be.
We have to be the courageous people to take the steps. We will get back into what Rev has opened. There is a door she has opened of how to deal. That is a great door. But she has also pointed back to what Jackie was saying about how we acquire this baggage. And I want Collins to put his voice in here and we explore this place a bit more. Where and how do we acquire this baggage? You are not going for a safari, but suddenly uko na masuitcase 10 umebeba unaenda. Let's go.
We don't acquire these baggages in our 20s or in our 30s. They come when as young as 5 years. I can't really remember 3 years, but 5 years, 7 years, my teenage period. 2 or 3 days ago, I saw a very interesting thing. Ukutuko barabara, I think it was the mother. So there's this, I think he's a teenager, the way he was dressed is like alikuwa ametoka kucheza football. So this lady approaches him and it's a common thing, maybe they are talking. And then I just looked again, this lady slapped this boy. And see, it was such a traumatic thing, but this boy can't do anything. And they walked together, so I assumed this lady has some sort of authority over this boy. And I remembered myself, I have gone through this thing a few times. and that's a baggage. That's a baggage because this is an embarrassment in front of strangers, maybe in front of friends or family. And that causes some sort of hurt
Yes.
and unforgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
How could you do? Si ungengoja tuende tu nyumbani. You know?
Kama ni coffee itoke
Kama ni
nyumbani.
wacha tu tumalizane ni nyumbani.
Yes.
And these are the things which we bring them to life. We bring them to the older ages of our life.
So we carry, like Rev said, fear informed from, by past experiences. And Collins is just saying, some of the places that we are getting this is the interactions and the miscommunications, the antagonisms, Ruzungu imekataa. Antagonizing situations that come up in our lives. This is a young man went out to play football, and suddenly, as he's walking maybe back home, in the seeing of his friends or people who might know him, a slap came out. So Collins was trying to tell us where baggage comes from. And I don't know, maybe Jackie, you have other places that we carry baggage from.
I think in addition to what Collins has said, let's think about the environment. Because partially there's someone in authority there and there's the environment. But I'm just thinking, like, when I was growing up, he has just reminded me now at 5 years, as I was starting school in primary school, I happened to have been, a little bit gifted physically.
Yes.
and everybody else seemed to have, this slim, most of the children in my rural school. And I had a nickname, not very great, but that's a nickname I carried in my primary school because people saw me as being a little bit plump, And I remember that created a syndrome later in my teenage. The whole issue of you're not enough because you're not like other people, and people have labeled you. The labels we carry all the way. And unfortunately, because of things like peer pressure, there's a lot of influence in school. Other children will come, even innocently call you that, not because they even want to call you, but they have had other
That is
friends
how they know you are.
That's how they know you.
Yes.
And so you may not realize it at that point. It is affecting you. You then go to your teenage and possibly you're feeling I'm not enough. And before you know it, you're in adulthood. You're struggling so much with who you are. And yet these were struggles all the way from our childhood, the environment that we were created in. That we grew up in. So that was a school environment.
Yes.
Other times it's the culture. Look at the boy child, the girl child. Think about some of the things that we are told as girls that I remember, like in our culture, like talking at some point, you're told talking to boys, keep off. And the way it's put it is that really you have to keep off. And when you are seen talking to these boys when you're young, you become almost labeled again.
Yes. Yes.
But the boys are allowed to go out,
Anywhere.
socialize. And so as you grew up, you find you're a guy and you're struggling even to socialize, to get these socialization skills.
Baggage.
Yes. I have the fear that when I see this young boy as I'm growing up, I think maybe the next thing I'll be pregnant. Because you have naturalized that.
Yes,
you talk
true.
to boys, the next minute you will be looking for the janitor getting pregnant while you're in school. Those things get formed in our minds and it becomes baggage. Unfortunately, sometimes we are parented by our parents that in a way that, not because they want, but that's what they knew.
Yes.
And we do parent the same. Before we know it, we are passing the culture
the
to
same
our
thing.
children. And so the baggage
Continues. So you pass it on from one generation
to
another. Rev, you have worked with children. And what Jackie is saying, you have seen these fears.
Yes.
And you can affirm that is true.
Yes.
Having been, and also being a mother of children, and many of them, seeing something like some fear that you actually maybe know the genesis or do not know, and maybe you can speak to a parent who is now seeing some things or some fear. This child was very jovial, they are not, and talk about maybe what, speculate on what they are dealing with as baggage. Just continuing from where Jackie has left off.
Wow. When I was growing up as a child, my mother was sending me so many times to my grandmother to take some kuni, and I think that is how children were growing, especially girls.
Yeah.
They were being advised by their aunts, by their mothers, and boys were being advised by their grandfathers and uncles.
Yes.
And there was environment for that. Maybe sometimes they were going to look after sheep, to look after goats and cows. And now when I'm sent to my grandmother was always telling me every time. And when we are seated at a fireplace, sit like a woman. And then I was wondering, now how does a woman sit? Because I thought I was sitting, I was already a woman, I'm a girl,
Yes.
so I'm sitting.
Yes.
So every time, sit like a woman, sit like a woman. And then I was feeling, this is too much. And I was fearing to go to my grandmother's place so that not to be told to sit like a woman. But with that, it grew in me, and I was taught. Now, every time I sit, I remember, sit like a woman. That is one of the things I remember. But it always grew in me, that even now when I'm growing,
Yes.
I'm very conscious how I sit.
Yes.
So, growing like children, we take words that become very useful in future, and something you can also tell somebody else. And we need to carry on this culture. So these baggages of childhood,
Yes.
sometimes it feels like, okay, I'm molded now. I can remember something about when I was a child. So past building builds present
And the future.
and the future. Yeah, builds future also.
Wow. That is how we get baggage. You know, it is very interesting that all of us went back. You know, went far back
Yeah.
to something I also had. Girls being told to sit like a woman. And I didn't hear boys being told to sit like a boy or like a man.
Yeah.
I don't know what the uncles were telling. But that is culture culture informing fears. Jackie has spoken to something that I would want to push just a little bit. The I am not enough. And suddenly, we are now out of the rural place. We are in the city. You are in an office. You've gone to university.
Yeah.
You have trained for a course. And then you have gotten a job. And you're in an office and you're feeling, oh my, who is being expected to do this? And your job description is before you, and you're seeing, you have accepted this, you will be expected to do 1, 2, 3, and sometimes they run into the 20s. So many things, and you're feeling, I don't think this is me being expected. Because maybe as grandma or as mom was sending you to do kuni, they always left your kabanch to be very small.
Yes.
And always told you, you cannot, that you cannot, or you can. So this is, they informed your capacity. And so now imposter syndrome is something that you have to deal with. And it comes from back then, you know. And we are saying, in this conversation is about baggage. And in the as we go by, we'll talk about how to now deal with it, so that we can know, for those people who are still feeling the fear of when they sit, they are wondering. Maybe they never got anyone to show them how a woman sits.
Yeah.
They never got anyone to affirm them after the slap, you know, or to do anything to deal with their emotional damages. And we have not even talked about relationships. A very young person, class 8, akapata boyfriend, first boyfriend, and then this boy doesn't even like her. Or this guy is trying to pursue this girl and feeling, wow, this is the girl, you know, this is the one. But this girl is like, I don't want you. And being heartbroken. And then moving on into campus and finding someone, and you think, this is the person, this is the one, and then they just go off and do something, and it heartbreaks you. And this is, as the director there goes on to inform me that time is running for this first session, we can begin to scratch that surface. Let's go to relationships. No, let's go to rejection. Let's go to heartbreaks. And Jackie, you had intimated that some baggage may come from there. But let's hit this nail on the head and ask Collins, baggage from relationship. You're the youngest here, but yes, that's notwithstanding. Let the imposter syndrome not beat you to this one. Yeah, are relationships part of the reason why, especially this generation, has a lot of baggage?
Yes. Human beings are social beings.
Yes.
Meaning that I cannot live alone.
Mm.
If you go to prison and ask the prisoners who are in solitary confinement, you will know why you need a person. You see, so all our baggages have come from relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I did not slap myself. No one told this girl. This girl didn't tell herself sit like a woman. You see, so they all came from relationships. Now, with my father, with my mother, with my grandmother, and now, if I see a lady who I want to start, let's say, dating her, and rejection happens. See, the thing about baggage, see, a suitcase will never change to be something else. But then an emotional baggage evolves into something else. It was just a minor comment there, but then you are not even sure who you are anymore. It evolves, it becomes such a huge monster, and you don't even recognize. Aki nimefika hapa aje. So like that rejection, I want to start dating this lady, and they reject me. Nishaipitia hiyo, it was bad.
The world was about to end.
Kabisa. And that time you wonder, shida ni gani? Niko na nini? Ama ni hawa vulana wengine wako na nini yenye mimi sina? You see, you look at, ama ni mimi nimechagua mbaya. You start questioning yourself and doubting yourself. So, wow, there's a lot to talk about that.
From the relationships. Yes, Jackie.
And picking from what Collins is saying, that there are so many unanswered questions that come as a result of those experiences. And rejection apparently happens. It's all over us. Yes, there is and it's based a lot on relationship. But I want to say, even being where I am, that even it goes all the way to adulthood, Collins. We are yet to experience, and we continue experiencing it. It could be even at the office. I mean, you are desiring a promotion, and somebody else is picked instead of you. You feel rejected, and you ask the similar questions. What is wrong with me? I mean, why did somebody else have to get maybe more attention than I did? Is it that I'm not performing as well? Which may not necessarily be. Other times, your own children also will reject you. I mean, teenagers will come and tell you you are old-fashioned.
Wow.
The other day, I was told I only have one dance style.
Wow. The audacity of these children. Watoto wa siku hizi.
Yes. And we have been dancing all this time with them, and I thought,
Sasa wamejua zingine mbili wale sasa yako baki moja.
So you can imagine in this forum we are trying to dance. I thought I'm also in the game.
Yes.
And somebody just telling me, mommy, you're old fashioned. Your style just can't match this game.
With the way you think you're modern,
imagine. So I'm just saying that, and you always sit back and you're like, are we still on the same journey? What is it that I'm not? I mean, what more do I need to do? And it may not be the question of what more do I need to do. It's a question of getting to a place of self-acceptance and accepting that life will present you sometimes with those instances.
Right.
Yeah.
Rev, as we finish this first session, where like relationships, you are the one who started with the relationships at home. For us, move it a little further so that we can see how relationships bring about the fear of.
Yes, I'll pick from where Collins has left.
Yes.
We have relationships, and we have heard of many stories about relationships. So here comes one man like Collins, and they are with a girl, and they are in the praise and worship, and they sing so well, and this man is admiring this girl, and he thought this girl is good enough for me to marry.
Yes.
And then he was looking at her and says, now I want to propose. So one day the good people, they decided, yes, we want to create a relationship. So the girl was also admiring the man.
Mm-hmm.
Now the man decided, because I'm the one to propose, I will invite you. I want you, after praise and worship, after service, can we go to Uhuru Park? And they went to Uhuru Park. And they were very saved. Oh, God-fearing 2 people. They went to Uhuru Park. Remember, the agenda of the man is to propose to this girl. And when they went to Uhuru Park, he tried, and then he couldn't. They stayed. They said a number of things. And then they said, okay, let us begin with prayer. So the man prayed. And then the girl prayed. And then the man said, oh yes, he has done so much to me. And this girl is meant for me. So he tried again. And then he could not find a word to tell this girl that I want to propose to you. So they stayed there, and then time elapsed, and then they went home. And then when they went home, they continued with praise and worship, and they continued worshiping God. And then in the mind, it's like for the man, he had already communicated to the girl, I love you. I want to say something to you, but he did not say. He lacked words. So they went on singing, and then singing, and then singing. So they went to praise at Uhuru Park. So after that, after some time, the girl got a relationship with another man who had a language to say, yes, I need to marry you. So they started the relationship, and they had words, and then they communicated. Only to receive a card. To receive a card from this girl. Now the young man that they went to, they went to Uhuru Park. Kindly, I invite you for my wedding. And then he asked her, you know, the time we went to Uhuru Park, this is what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you that I need to have a relationship with you, and I admire if you become my wife. But, oh dear, you didn't say it. So in the relationship, we also have to get very good words, the related words, to communicate the desire of your heart. So I also look at the baggage of fear and lack of words. So we pray that the men, you get the right words to communicate to the girls and tell, I need to marry you. So, and then you give good homework. So God bless you as you continue in your relationships.
Wow. And words and lack of words and being unable to communicate as part of baggage. We will come back and explore this conversation further. This is Keep Evolving. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Keep Evolving. Thank you very much for staying with us. We are talking about emotional baggage, and I hope so far you have identified areas that you have been carrying some baggage. And so for the next session, we go to how it has been affecting you. And I'm sure you can list a few of them, but let us allow my panel here to list just a few ways of the effects and how baggage has been affecting us. You know, if we can start with you, Jackie. The effects and affects of baggage.
All right. I think when we think about, for example, unforgiveness,
yes,
one thing that will happen definitely that it affects relationships, relationships at home, with our colleagues, you know. Then issues like rejection. I have seen cases where people, like, you felt you were rejected when you were young.
Yes.
And there's a tendency now in the long term to actually carry that rejection all the way to your adulthood. And so you find that you're behaving in a way that sometimes you feel you don't belong, even when not necessarily, it's not that people are not accepting you. Actually, what are you doing? You are isolating yourself. because of a rejection that you faced, because of what Collins was saying, you're comparing yourself, what is wrong with me? So it's so internal that you don't realize it is actually you who is rejecting yourself at some point, not because others are rejecting you. And of course, we know when you are so angry, you're so hurt over years and years, it affects your emotional health to the extent that you're so stressed, before you know it, depression.
Yes.
We said in an earlier episode that depression is becoming a destiny killer. You have so much potential, people have so much greatness in them, but they cannot be able to exercise it because of this emotional baggage that they are carrying.
Wow. Are you the one who is against yourself? Rev, put your voice into this conversation.
We are all created to perform.
Yes.
I want to pick from where you came when you are saying, here you have been educated and you need to perform.
Yes.
And you feel yourself that you are not really performing. And that baggage is walking with you after you, and giving you like, giving you a feeling like, you're not able to do it. I want to look at it from like when you are given an assignment.
Yes.
You are expected to do it.
Yes.
But then you feel like there is a baggage of procrastination. Maybe I will do it. I will do it. But this becomes a hindrance. Procrastination becomes a hindrance. Even when you are able to do it, you are not able. Even when you plan to do something, you feel like, I will do it another time. I happen to be a victim of procrastination. And procrastination is very, very dangerous. I try to deal with it. And if I happen to be helped how to come out of procrastination, I will feel, yes, I can perform. So this is a baggage that comes with you, telling you there is always another time. There is always another time. And surely, like Jackie says, it could end to stress. You feel so stressed that you want to do it, but you are not doing it. Yet you are capable of doing it because you have been educated all this way. And my parents worked very hard to make me go to school to the level I have been. But they want to see me progressing. But that baggage of procrastination pulls me back. So if I'm able to progress with good planning, maybe I can be able to be a better performer.
Very sure.
And I can be of good contribution to the society. I believe we can make it, but these baggages...
it is baggage that is dragging us behind. And as Colin speaks, we will come and talk about how to deal. So we are going to get our solutions, even right here. Collins.
Maybe before Collins talks about how to deal, I've just remembered that, baggage sometimes makes us to dilute who we are in terms of our values, and can lead to developing bad habits. Why do I say take an example of, you have the value of integrity, and you find that you have gone through a life experience where somebody really tested your integrity, or you trusted someone so much and they betrayed your trust. And before you know it, I don't know, but you might find that also yourself, you start feeling like maybe this one, like we generalize it, there's no one I can trust. Before you know it, your own values are getting diluted. You used to be really keen on that trust, that honesty. So you find, yes, slowly by slowly, you're also becoming accustomed to what you think is in the system.
Sure.
The bad habits come because I am so stressed. I decide I need to go take some alcohol. I need to be on a drug to make me feel better. And before you know it, it starts with a single step. Then it becomes so magnified, and it becomes an addiction.
Sure.
So these are some of the negative effects of baggage. And the unfortunate bit is that unless you sit back and get aware of why am I doing this?
Yes.
Questioning yourself, you may never get to realize that you're developing a bad habit because of the baggage you've been carrying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Collins, anything to add on the effects of baggage before we jump into how we can deal?
Not really. It's just it's a very amazing point that Jackie has put out. These addictions that we can say we are going through. It's never really. I just started. I just wanted to have a taste. Sometimes you can check back and just listen to the stories of people. Mi nakuanga hivi because maybe I was molested. Mi nakuanga hivi maybe because it's even more sad because some people know what happened and they know that's why I am like this. And it creates such a very helpless situation. And you wonder, how do I even start talking to this person? How maybe Mungu amenituma kwake to encourage, but then wewe unatoka hapo you are discouraged wewe mwenyewe.
Yeah.
You see, and it's such a heavy thing. Yeah.
Wow. As a matter of fact, planes are made to fly. But every plane has a limit of the weight it can carry. And I want to say this as we go into how to help people to deal. We as human beings are created to thrive.
Yeah.
But there is a limit to what we can carry along. So let us help out the people at home to deal with this baggage. To deal with, a lot of people are suffering from procrastination. Very many of us are within this. How can we now begin a conversation from within ourselves to say, I have had a broken heart since I was in campus, all of those years. Or I have had a broken heart since I was, first married, or since I got my first child. I have had a broken heart. I have had to deal with this kind of rejection or this kind of baggage. How do we begin to critique ourselves and become our own best friends to deal with this baggage? Jackie, if you can put words in here to begin to help people to take baby steps out of it.
One of the things I have experienced in a certain seminar is where we were asked to draw our life maps from the time you're born to date. And you would draw a graph. And in this graph, we have the negative and the positive side. And so it's a graph that you ask yourself, in my childhood, for example, 5 to 10 years, the when I can remember, what exactly happened? 10 to 15 years, 15 to 20 years, and you go labeling all the great things and all the negative things that affected you. And one of the things I realized about this map as I did mine was I was able to trace the times when I felt I was thriving, like you're saying, and life was great, and there was minimal baggage. And I would be able to track the time that this baggage was the heaviest, because there are many the minuses I would really list down those minuses. What I went through, maybe I went through rejection, there was anger, there was brokenness in terms of heartaches and all that. And when you get that level of self-awareness, it's when you start realizing, actually, there's something that is making me not thrive. If I'm actually carrying all this load, every day naongeza kwa chondo, heart, anger. The next day, heart. Before I know it, I am like this. And so we are saying, start with being self-aware. Take stock of your life.
Yes.
And find out, really, are these the things that are actually making you not to thrive?
Yes.
Emotional baggage.
Self-awareness. Andika hiyo and underline. And then I will say something after Rev has commented on how to begin dealing with baggage. Yes, I am carrying it. How do I start,
Let me go to the baggages that we carry as small children. And I will give a good example. I think as teachers and parents, we need to give love.
Yes.
Literally give a gift of love to our children. They say that in the stages of children, like when a child maybe is between 0 years and 5 years or 6, all what you need to give is love. Give love. And that gives the child an assurance that you are given love. For example, if a child wants something, everything is give. And they think that whatever you give is whatever they need. And it is possible with you to give. For example, if a little child, like your son, asks for an aeroplane, I want that aeroplane, I want it. Don't tell him, no, you can't get that aeroplane. That is not your age. Just tell him, yes, you want that aeroplane. In the evening, I'll bring you the aeroplane. And then when you come in the evening, Daddy, where is, this is the aeroplane. You buy a small one. And he will say, oh yes, I have an aeroplane. And he'll be fulfilled. Lastly, give. The gift of love.
Yes.
I'll give an example of my child. One day I was invited to class. And then during the parents' day, and my son told me, wow, Mom, you will sit where I sit and see my work. You will sit on my seat. And you see my desk. Then the day came, and I went to the parents' day. And then when I went there, the teacher gave me the seat. It was in front. It was in front, right where the teacher sits. And then I was shown the work. I saw. And then I was told, when your son sits behind there, he does not concentrate. He wants to relate with the friends. And that is why he sits right here near me, so that I can be able to watch and to guide him and to make sure that he's concentrating. Wait, I go home. Mommy, you are from school. Yes. Do you know where I sit? Yes, I sat on your seat. But you see, you sit right in front because when you are behind there, you don't concentrate. No, Mommy. I sit right in front because teacher tells me she loves me very much.
Wow.
And then for him, because that love is given by the teacher, or what he knows is that I'm loved by the teacher. That is why I sit right in front. I learned a lesson. I learned a big lesson that the way to deal with our baggages is to give these children love and assurance that things are possible and there is nothing that is impossible. So parents, it's good to provide for the children, and that is biblical. And God has provided all the wisdom and first the gift of love.
Wow. Hey. and I will dare say, even if this is, thank you for speaking to the parents, because sometimes we have a conversation and the parents wanaekwa kando. So thank you for calling them kwa meza and telling them this is also yours. Give love. And I'm thinking it is not only for the younger ones. It is great for the younger ones.
Yes.
Your teenager is, becoming a bit, we will not use those negative words, a bit challenging. Your relationship with your teenager is a bit challenging. Give love.
Yes.
And you begin sorting. Because if we do not give love, we begin to give them baggage.
Yes.
And when they are 35, they will begin dealing with that baggage. Your young adult is also, the relationship is becoming a bit strained. Give love. Collins, put your voice in here. Do not be afraid. Let imposter syndrome not affect you now. Let us help people how to come out of it.
Well, it's actually amazing. In Luke 6, I'll just read a few verses. It says, I'll start from 35 to 38. But love ye your enemies and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured unto you again. What you said, Rev talked about love, and love is the only way. Love is the only way you can be able to deal with the baggage and releasing. Now that we are not children anymore, we are not teenagers anymore. How can we deal with the baggage today, right now, in the age that we are in? First of all, we just start with forgiving, letting them go. There are people you will wait until the day you die. They will never come and say, "I'm sorry." They will never. There are those times my parent I will not wait for my parent to come tell me sorry. I beat you up in the way that it's not very nice. They will not. They will say, "I punished you. Hey, you deserve it." and maybe they hurt you. They hurt you, but you have to let it go. Letting it go. Your baggage kuachilia tu. I remember primary school tulikuwa bebeshwa vitabu. Wow. So letting that thing go, you feel like you can go for a PE lesson. Umechoka. You feel so rejuvenated. You let us this is the thing. We as Christians, we don't depend on our own strength. It is God who is our sustainer. So when we look to God and get His love, this Bible is full of His love. It's full of His promises. When we get to understand that this relationship with God started with forgiveness. It started with love. If we understand it for ourselves, then we can give it so easily. So we can give it, itakuwa like this verse 33 says, and lend, hoping for nothing again. We can be able to just offer love. There's no need for me to offer love because I know you will love me in return. No, that's the thing. I not only invite Bash because I will also invite you. Invite. Jesus says invite when you know they cannot even afford to do so. Hata ule hawezi kununulia hata kale ka tropical. You see, that's the thing. We Christians, we are called to live the simple but outstanding life.
Wow.
The life which is you see, that's the thing. Jesus says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may give glory to God." You see, when they see you, so you become that light.
Wow. Become. In one of the episodes, somebody said, "Be," and I owned that. It is possible for us to lose our baggage, for us to let it go, for us to thrive. A ship that is overloaded sinks, lose the baggage. A plane that is overloaded does not take to the skies, lose the baggage. A bird whose wings are wet does not fly, lose the baggage. You can begin where you are and take baby steps and lose the baggage. We thank you, our viewers, very much for being with us this evening and for continually supporting us. We also want to thank ACK St. Peter's Kahawa Sukari for continually giving us the platform. And what you do with this video is, first of all, you watch it, you share it, and you like it, and you give us your comments, and you subscribe to this channel for more videos of this nature. We thank you. As always, keep evolving. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.